Welcome to Heart, where we break the silence, bridge the gaps, and bring real conversations about mental health to the forefront. I'm your host, Leigh Ioffe, founder and director of The Long Short Road. I'm so grateful to be welcoming Jessica Tsur to the show today. Jessica is a mom of 5 and has been a teacher for 15 years and is the founder of the Leve's Women and Children's Gemach. She also suffers with intense anxiety, depression, and panic disorder. A few years ago, her mental health climaxed and she ended up hospitalized due to self-harming behaviors and suicidality. It was here she learned how powerful connecting to others can be. Jessica knew she had a choice. This illness was going to possibly take her life, or she was going to take her pain and turn it into purpose. And this was the catalyst for her organization, Catch, which stands for creating a team of courage and hope. Jessica, welcome to the show. And
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
there's ever been a more honest bio, I haven't seen one. Because as the founder of a nonprofit and also someone who struggles with mental health, I feel so seen just having read your experience. So thank you.
My pleasure. Got to
Uh,
be
so I want to start, and I know that you've shared this in different places before, but I'm really curious, and if you could share with our listeners a little bit about the impetus that helped you start Catch. And the reason I want to start with that question is because I speak to so many people every day of the week who are suffering from extreme mental health challenges. And there's always a little bit of hope somewhere in there where people will say to me in the height of their worst episode, one day I'm going to help people. One day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to be like you. So, can you walk me through that a little bit of what that experience was like for you?
okay. So I'm going to start with the loneliness and isolation. There's a lot of my story that goes back years and years and years. But when I say that the catalyst was being in the hospital, first of all, going to the hospital was very traumatic because it involved, like, I'm not going to go into such details, but basically, my therapist called Hatsala, and I did not want to go to the hospital again. I was hospitalized before. I knew what it meant. I was so scared. I literally, like, I was in the middle of Gemach hours, and I told my husband that my therapist had called. He's like, I'm putting a ladder over the fence. You're jumping over the fence, and you're running away. I mean, it felt like I was in a movie, but like we were both so scared to experience this again that I literally ran away from Hatsala,
Yeah.
ran down the block to a friend, ran into the house. I was like, don't ask questions. Just let me hide in your boiler room. I'm telling you, I was so scared.
Wow.
And there were like 75 people in the Gemach. And after being in my friend's house for like probably like 20 minutes to half an hour, my friends called me and they said, Jessica, if you don't come home, they're calling the cops and they're sending out like search dogs and helicopters.
Wow.
So I didn't really have a choice. I mean, obviously you always have a choice, but I knew that I had to go back and I was petrified. And when I got there, sure enough, there were once you don't go with Hatsala, they do reach out to 911. And so there was an ambulance there, and there were probably like 7 or 8 cop cars. And I, this was 7 years ago. My oldest is 18. So there were like 3 of my kids were peering out the window, watching their mother get into an ambulance. And I remember like there's no words to capture what that felt like. It was just, I really like was wondering what they were feeling, but I knew I wasn't okay. I really had to go there, even though I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Anyways, fast forward, I spent 15 hours in the waiting room before I actually got to the hospital. And when you're struggling with like mental health, especially things like suicidality, you have somebody watching you one on one. Your phone is taken from you. Like I'm sitting in the hallway watching the guys. I made friends with the guys cleaning the walls because I'm sitting there for 15 hours. I have to go to the bathroom. Somebody's following me. And I do so much writing. I mean, please, with Hashem's help, I will never end up in the hospital again. But when I'm there, I write a lot.
Mm.
And it's the only outlet. So I was like, somebody just see me. Like I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm a community member. Somebody just see me as a person, not just this individual that needs to be followed around like I committed a crime. Okay, after 15 hours, I was admitted to LIJ, to Zucker Hillside. And there's a part of you that, like, even though your dignity is totally stripped away, you reach a point where you have to just, like, say to yourself, I need to reach a point of acceptance. I'm here and I can either whine and complain and scream and kick that I'm in this horrible environment, or I'm here. I'm here for a reason. I want to get better. What are the next steps to follow? And I'm not going to lie, like psychiatric hospitals are filled with all sorts of people, and it is scary and it is triggering. And when people call me from like a psychiatric ward, like I know that they're on a phone that's attached to a wall, two strings away. Like I totally can relate and empathize where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, so exercise for me is a major coping skill. I love to walk. Like when I feel dysregulated or my emotions are totally at a height that I can't calm down, I don't care if it's winter, if it's raining, if it's 100 degrees, I just need to put on my headphones and go for a walk. Um, and in the hospital, there's no headphones, there's no phone, there's no anything. You can't even walk out the door because it's locked. But my body physically needed to move. So I started just walking up and down the hall, like multiple times a day. It probably looked insane to other people, but I knew that that's what my body needed. And in the time that I was walking, and I've shared this story so many times, I hope I'm not like repeating myself, but there was another from woman there who was in a hospital gown. She didn't move. She was really standing one place. She had a sitter in her hand. And I was so desperate for connection. It's just like the amount of pain from the loneliness when you're struggling, it's so hard to put words to, but like the pain of loneliness, all I can say is like you feel like your insides are just being ripped out of you. You want to connect, you don't know how to connect, you don't know what to say, um, but you don't want to feel alone.
Right.
So I went up to this woman and I introduced myself, and I knew she was in a worse state than I was because she was totally like, I don't know if the right word, I don't even know what catatonic means. Is
Yeah.
that
Like,
okay?
right.
So I asked her, like I introduced myself. I said, "Do you want to take a walk with me?" She didn't say yes in the beginning. So I let time go by, but like a day later I asked again and another day, and finally she said yes.
Mm.
And we started slowly walking the halls together. There was no conversation, but we were next to each other. And then slowly she went from a hospital gown and put her regular clothes on. And the turning point for me was when an African American nurse came up to me and she said to me, Bubala, I don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it.
Wow.
And I was like, what in the world is this woman talking about? I'm sitting in a psychiatric hospital. It's my birthday. Like we had a birthday cake on my 40th birthday in the psych ward. You know, you have to just like make do with what you have. And I realized that like it was so simple, yet it was so profound at the same time that the power, literally the power of connecting to somebody else who understands your pain, it's not the way out, but it is the way through.
Yeah.
And thank God I was only there for a few days. And I came out of the hospital and I said, either like I'm still struggling, you know, I'm on medication, I'm in therapy, but I was missing. There was something missing. And I knew that that was the power of support and connection. And so it's actually really interesting because the first event that I did, I came out of the hospital and I was like, that's it. I'm reaching out to every magazine and every paper, and I don't care what, I need to share my story because I can't be the only Jewish femme woman that's struggling like this.
Yeah.
And my first event was with Beaker Holim. Um, and I just want to share something. It happened yesterday. Um, Before the event, these women who run Beaker Holim were really nervous. They were really nervous for me to share my story in first person.
Mm.
So Dr. David Pelkovitz was also speaking at this event, and they called him and they're like, "We're really nervous. We want to protect her." And he said, "No way! Like she's telling her story as it is." So yesterday I was part of an event again that Beaker Holim did, and one of the women came up to me in tears, like literal tears, and she said to me, I need to ask for your forgiveness. I am so sorry that I didn't encourage you more to do what you were doing because I see what it's doing in the community. And Catch was really born when I was in the hospital. And I knew that, like, I would look up to the sky and say, Hashem, you've given me pain that I really don't know what to do with. Like, I don't know how much help there is out there or support. Like, I feel so alone. So either I'm not gonna I'm gonna fall I'm gonna just like fall apart from it, or you're going to help me and you're going to help me take my story and take my pain and turn it into a purpose. And I'm going to use my voice to help others. And thank God that's what I've been able to do.
Wow. Wow. I like I'm just absorbing everything, and to think that in such a place of immense pain. I mean, I've been in psych wards visiting patients, and I
Right.
just said to someone this morning, you don't understand how absurd it is to walk into a place where someone is so unwell, and the way that they handle it is to put them in a concrete box of a room with bars on the windows.
When you need stripped away of all of it,
Right,
it's
right,
hard.
right. And to be in that place and also be able to give support to that other woman, like that is that's a level of strength right
I
there.
mean, you have to remember, like, so people say that all the time, but it was also giving strength to me. It was
Ew.
also giving support to myself. So even when I like start these support groups and everybody's like, wow, you're amazing. I'm a part of these groups. Like I'm benefiting. I started this because I needed support.
Yep. Yep.
So as much as I'm giving to others and as much as I connect to others, it really, really, really helps me at the same time.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And when I started the long short road, I started it for a purpose of helping other people, but I've definitely benefited from the programs that I'm running.
Exactly.
I tell people all the time when they come to classes, I'm like, the teacher learns more than this. I learn more from the students than they do from me. I come
Right.
away from these classes and these programs and support groups feeling like my cup has been filled, and it
Exactly.
is, right? There's like a mutual give in.
It's a win-win. It's
100%.
really a win-win situation.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You came out of that experience. This was your personal experience, right? You came out of it wanting to shout from the rooftops and have everybody hear you and have everyone, and realizing that you couldn't be the only frum woman in the country or in the five towns who was dealing with this.
Right.
Do you have a message for anyone who's listening right now who's in a similar position, who feels like they can't speak up because they're afraid to ask for help because of stigma, because of shame?
So this is what I will say. The shame and stigma is real. Like we can't ignore that it's out there in our communities. And I struggle with it because I think so much of it, like I was at the Borough Park event. I used to yell at my therapist all the time when she used to say, just put your hands on your heart and sit for a second in silence and ask yourself what you're really feeling. Like it used to make me so crazy. But the truth is, when we do that and we really listen to ourselves and ask ourselves, like, where is the shame coming from? Where is the stigma coming from? What are we embarrassed of? What are we scared of? And I know that the answer is different for many people. So when I share, I can only share my own experience. And people were scared when I shared my story. Like I have 5 children, and my oldest is going to Emir Hashem seminary next year. But what I can say to those listeners, I've been running a daycare for 15 years. This year, I happen to have a child of a Hatzalah member in my group who's been on many of my personal calls.
Wow.
And I said to him, I'm like, how are you trusting me with your child when you know how much I struggle with my mental health? And he's like, are you crazy? I wouldn't trust anybody else in the world with my child. Like, that's an example just to show like those that are struggling how the shame it's not hurting me. My
Right.
oldest applied to 3 seminaries. She got into all 3.
Wow.
And I've shared my story publicly. When you're coming at it from a point of strength, not like I'm sharing my story in order to give people the courage to reach out for help. When you're helping yourself, you're not just helping yourself. You're helping every single person around you.
Right.
And I know the shame is real. Like Brene Brown, who is like a major she's like a professional on shame and vulnerability. She says that shame, I hope I say it correctly, that shame thrives on 3 things: secrecy, silence, and judgment.
Yeah.
And in order to knock down the shame, we have to do the opposite. And I'm not telling everybody stand on the rooftops and share your story. You
Right.
don't have to do that. Most people don't want to do that, and that's okay. But I would say find one person, one safe person. what it does to you to take, like, to carry the secret that you're going through a mental illness and carry it alone. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
It's so lonely. It's so isolating. I believe you're more of a professional in this than I am, but from someone who lives with it, I believe that that is not all of the cases, but it can lead down to the dangerous path of suicidality because
Absolutely.
you can't carry this pain alone. You just can't. And you can do it in a way that protects your confidentiality. Like our support groups, the therapist, the first thing she says is that anybody that walks through this door, confidentiality is the most important thing. And if I hear you or somebody else tells me that you're talking about anybody else outside of this room, you're out of the group.
Yep.
So creating a safe and confidential space where you can share and support and validate. What's shameful about that?
Mm.
Like, if in my eyes, it's the most courageous thing. You're helping yourself. You're taking yourself to the next step.
Right.
Ignoring it and pretending there's nothing wrong and hiding everything under the rug. That there's more shame there
Right.
in my.
Right. Yeah, and it's I think it's also uh, to just to take it a little bit step further in what you were saying about the dangerous nature then of suicidality is that we do become convinced then, right, when we're in the pain by ourselves that no one wants to hear it and that we're a burden on other people.
Correct.
But then if and I even remember like at part in times of my life where like my depressive episodes were so awful that like getting out of bed and trying to be a functional human being felt like it felt impossible, and some days it was, right? And like still, if there's days that I stay in my pajamas all day and I manage to brush my teeth and eat some food and get my kids out the door looking semi decent,
That's
that's a
a
win.
success. I know.
Huge success,
So I
right?
just want to say something in well, like what you just said. So our support group that meets once a week, we have a WhatsApp chat, okay? And all throughout the week, like if somebody's in the situation that you just said, they're struggling to get out of bed, but they really want to, they
Right.
need help. They
Yeah.
put it on the chat and they have a whole network of support. What do you need? Do you need me to come over? Do you want to set a timer? Like, let's make a list of goals together. You literally have a team of support with you. I don't ever believe that there's a way out of this illness, but I really believe, like, when people say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm not sure there's a light at the end. I believe that there's a light through.
Mm,
And part of that light through is creating that network of support so that when you're stuck in bed, and yes, it is a win, it is a win to just get through the day. But sometimes having that support can even help you take a step further. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. And just to go back to what you were saying about sharing and having that confidential group, when we say sharing your pain, we don't mean you have to go on Instagram and do a live video and tell everyone who's watching,
Exactly.
hi, I struggle with mental illness, right? I've
Correct.
struggled with depression and anxiety. People kind of laugh when I say this, but it's true for me. I think I was born depressed. Like I
I,
think I was born with anxiety. That's how I came into the world. In my earliest memories of my life, I remember feeling anxiety. Like I remember that being very present in my life.
right.
And that doesn't, for many years I didn't share it publicly. And there's still things that I don't share out loud and probably will never,
You don't have to.
because that's not that, but there is something to be said about having those couple of people, if it's one person or two people that you can confide in to feel less alone. Hashem
Right.
doesn't want us to feel alone in our pain.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at I'm saying, really look at any illness out there, nobody can get through, not for even on an illness, hardship, pain. We need each other to get through. We're human. Like that's a part of human nature. We're not meant to get through life alone. We're meant to be there and support each other, no matter what it is, financial hardships, marriage hardships, cancer, God forbid all of these things. But you can get through it easier when you have people that you can reach out to and connect with.
Yeah. I 100% I agree. I'm right there with you. And this is why organizations like yours exist. And I'm so grateful. I wish there wasn't a need. And
I think we all do. I know.
I tell people all the time, people are like, what's your goal for the long short run? Like to retire from crisis
Exactly.
management, to retire
Exactly.
from crisis management, to
It's
not have
so true.
so much pain in the world. But so long as there is pain in the world, we're going to keep showing up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I believe that the more we share and the more our voices are out there, the pain won't go away, but maybe we can decrease people's pain
Yeah.
so that they won't end up in crisis. Like, let's give them the tools and techniques that they need and the support and connection that they need so that they don't end up in crisis mode.
Right.
And that's what we're both doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful to you. And
And you as well.
thank you. I want to take this in a little bit of a different direction. My next question is, what is it that you wish, people who aren't necessarily, everyone goes through challenges, everyone goes through hardships. Human beings are not exempt from pain. We will all go through our stuff, but not
Right.
everyone struggles with a significant mental health challenge, and Baruch Hashem for that.
Right.
But do you have a message for people who are not struggling about what you wish they understood about the challenge? I think that there is a misunderstanding about, especially with anxiety. It's like, well, why can't you just deal with it? Why can't you just get over it? Like,
Right.
what is your message to those people?
So, it's interesting because I think that there are two groups of people that struggle with their mental health. I think that there are those that sometimes you can see it externally. It's a little bit more written on their face and the way they carry themselves. And then there are those that you are in shock when they share with you that they're struggling.
Yeah.
And I really believe that it's very hard for someone who doesn't live with it to truly understand it. Um, I think that the ones that aren't living with it, maybe if you have a spouse that struggles or a friend that struggles, really to admit and say, like, I don't know what you're going through, but I see you're having a hard time. Or even if I don't see, I hear that you're having a hard time. What is like, ask them, what is the best way that I can show up and
Yeah.
support you? Because some people may just want just a hug so that they feel that physical connection. Some people may say, no, 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 I don't want that, but just come visit me or send me a text telling me that you're thinking of me.
Yeah.
There are so many different ways to support a person. And I tell people, like, there's so many who do struggle, get frustrated with the fact that those who don't really, really, really can't understand.
Right.
And so the only way they can is if we talk and we share and we tell them. And so when we do approach somebody and say, I may not look like it, but I'm really having a hard time and I could really use some help and support. Be open to listening to what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. I am right there with you. And that also goes back to the aspect of stigma, right? That we have to take judgment out of the conversation.
Right.
And for people who aren't experiencing it, which again, like Baruch Hashem, if you're not, but also, we do kind of come, even me who has struggled, I come to the table with certain biases about the way I may perceive or judge people, and we could all benefit from checking ourselves and saying, like, well, let me come to this conversation with this person who's struggling from a place of compassion and not from a
Yeah.
place of
There's a whole thing on Instagram. I know everybody's not on Instagram, but I don't know if they're still doing it, but everybody was posting, like, we listen and we don't judge.
judge, right?
Right. And that's really the truth of it. Sometimes we just need someone to, even if they don't understand it, sometimes we just need somebody that's going to be a little empathetic and listen to how we're feeling.
Yeah.
That even though you don't understand it, just to validate us. Like
Yeah.
you said, the days that you are stuck in your pajamas and you got through the day and gave your kids dinner and maybe a shower, so people need to understand that that seems so basic, but for those that do struggle with depression, it's like fighting through the stickiest,
Yeah.
deepest mud that exists.
Right.
Validate that. Just say, I know how hard it was for you.
Right. When our nervous systems are in survival mode, the things that seem the most foundational will become the hardest to access.
Right.
When I teach people about safety plans and how to support someone when they have a safety plan, they'll say to me, but like, why are there such basic things like proper hygiene and drinking water and getting dressed on there? I'm like, just think about it. If you broke your leg and you couldn't walk without assistance,
It's
how
true.
hard would those things become for you? And you would need to rely on someone to hobble you to the bathroom or give you your crutches. That's what we're going through.
Right.
And when I say I feel depressed, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm sad about the state of my life. It's like, no, my nervous system has gone
Shut
into
down.
complete shutdown. Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
And now that you're saying that, like, even I remember when I was really struggling, somebody just brought me a hot bowl of soup, and not, they didn't leave at the bottom. They came up to, like, they said, "Can I come up to your bed?" Brought it to me in bed. It
Wow.
was so, and when I was really at my worst day of depression, it was very hard for me to actually eat. Like, I couldn't swallow.
Yeah.
But to have somebody supporting you and encourage you, just take 2 bites or 3 bites, just someone there that, again, even if they don't understand it,
Yeah.
show up for the people that are struggling. And when we show up, it also gives those that are, if they see somebody that has shared and people do show up, it gives people the courage to also share with somebody else that they're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And as we're coming to the end of our time, I do want to just ask you to answer one more question briefly. If you have
Sure.
a message of hope for anyone who's listening who's struggling right now.
So I think my main message is first to stop judging yourself, to
Mhm.
accept yourself for the struggles. Like, self judgment can really destroy you. Um, don't beat yourself up for struggling. Know that you're not the only one. And my biggest message always is to reach out. Like, people can email me, text me. Sometimes just talking to somebody else who is struggling really gets them to the next step of either reaching out to a therapist, reaching out to a psychiatrist, reaching out to a friend. Reach out to somebody so that that heaviness of loneliness can disappear, and you can, it like leaves room for you to take just like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. I'm going to take that deep breath right now.
We'll take it together.
Jessica, thank you so much for being here and for the beautiful work you're doing.
Absolute pleasure, and I look forward to talking again.
Same. Thank you for tuning in to Heart to Heart. If you or someone you love is struggling, please know there is hope and help is within reach. Since 2019, the Long Short Road has been walking alongside at-risk individuals, offering trauma-informed programs, a non-emergency hotline, and a community that fosters healing. No one has to go through this alone, and we are here for you. Discover how the Long Short Road is changing lives. Visit www.thelongshortroad.com or email us at info@thelongshortroad.com to learn more. You can be part of this mission. Sponsorship opportunities for Heart to Heart are available. Honor a loved one, support your community, and help us make mental wellness resources accessible to those who need them most. Until next time, remember, love and connection are the greatest healers. This is Leigh Ioffe reminding you, hope is here, healing is possible, and you are never alone. Together, we're walking this long, short road to a brighter future.